present today and to be alive today, so that I can actually address the nation on a number of pertinent matters that also affect and also that promotes the youth agenda of this great nation called Zambia.
Okay. Wow, it is indeed a pleasure to have you on this platform. More especially that it's the first time to have you on Christian Nation FM.
Precisely.
So we believe in God, and our mission is to pray for the nation, to ensure that we see peace, love, and unity in the nation. And we have seen that a lot of youths have been called people who are used as tools of violence in the country. Yes, now we have decided to bring you here so that we can share more about youth, more of youth. We're also going to share about the youth participation in national development, especially economically, and also a lot of issues indeed. Yes, now I want you to just explain to us, who do you think is a youth from the word go?
Well, first and foremost, in the UN Charter, it's categorically stated differently.
Okay.
And of course, in the Zambian chapter also, we look at the youth in a different age group as well. But at the end of it all, it's somebody that is aged between 16 and goes all the way up to the age of 40, depending with which constitution you're looking at or which protocol you're looking at. But of course, with the UN Charter, it's up to the age of 35.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting indeed. So from the age of 1 to 35, he's a youth.
Exactly.
Okay, he or she is a youth. Yes. Now we have seen a lot of violences taking place in the country. Yes, so far. So what do you think is the cause of these youths being involved in violences? Yes.
Well, the reasons could be categorized in so many different ways. And I would like to be honest with you in the sense that, you see, this is a very delicate age that we're looking at, especially when we're discussing issues of the youth. We cannot compound it to be precise with one type of people, because we're dealing with a diverse different type of people with different type of thinking and different types of belongings as well. Yes. So we may first and foremost ask ourselves to say, the kind of youths that are involved in violent activities, which category do they fall under? Yes. One, we could be talking about students that get influenced because of, having peer pressure from fellow students. We'll be talking about those that have not even attained an educational level up to a certain age for them to understand certain dynamics of the country or even of their sense of belonging. But at the end of it all borders on the leadership. If we have wrong leaders who cannot guide and protect the young ones, they'll lead them into wrong vices.
Wow.
Mostly because of people that are selfish with their own selfish intentions are the ones that will use a young person for their own personal gain. In the sense where they want to climb the ladder without having it difficult by virtue of using other people to make them climb the ladder. They'll say they're with them, but when the youths are in problems, those youths are never with their leaders. They are on their own. May I always give a practical example to say, look, a human being when you're born blank. As a child, you're born blank.
Wow.
It's because of the daily activities of what you're doing, you start learning. Because sometimes even when a child is playing with fire, parents will say, Mlekeni. When you get burnt, you know to say, this red stuff, if I touch it, I'll burn myself, I'll have a sore. At the back of your mind, in your memory, it records to say, this is trouble when I touch.
Wow.
And it flows just like that with so many things that are happening within our environment. Now, others come from an environment which might not even have certain things that these youth or young people be exposed to. Someone will take advantage because he knows that these are naive. There are children that are naive, they don't know much about certain things.
Yes.
And someone will take advantage of them because of them not knowing that even if they get up and go and beat up somebody, that is a crime they are committing. For others, they won't even know. So we as leaders, we are the ones that should take a leading role and guide our young people so that they do not fall prey to what will fall before them, which will be the wrath of the law.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So amazing indeed. Now we are discussing the engagement or the youth participation in national development. How well can we engage the youths in national development?
First and foremost, you know, the energy that young people have, it's so immense.
Wow.
And this is something that all of us must be able to admire and say, yes, if we want to move an agenda, you can imagine, even if we said, let's go and drop Findeco House, we got all the youths from the country. Do you know that we'll be able to push it and it will fall?
Exactly.
Yes. So the energy of young people is so great that if we had to direct it to a positivity, we'll create something positive for this country.
Wow.
Young people, they're experimenting. And anything they see for them, it's something new.
Wow.
And mind you, we're living in a 7th industrial revolution now, where computers have taken a center stage. There are others that were born before computers who would not know what is happening.
Wow.
But children and young people of today, they know so much such that you cannot even cheat them. Because of Google, there is so much. So the best way is to gather our young people and give them guidance on what they can do which will be positive and where they can exert their energy so that at the end of it all, the result that will come from there will be a positive result.
Okay.
We've got a lot of intelligent young people. This generation, you'll be so amazed how intelligent our young people are.
Okay.
Starting from even just children, it is amazing. You can see how a child would even know the name of a country and its capital city, even when the child has never been there.
Okay.
But because all these things now at the fingertips of us, we are able to access them through computers, through mobile phones now. Everything is accessible. And I want to thank the government also. The way the government has come up to roll out, even in rural areas, where there was no mobile network, now we have mobile network. So that even our people in the rural areas can have access to internet. So we can't cheat people today to say, no, only those that are in town are kept or they are vested with what is going on. You're cheating yourself.
Okay.
You'll be so shocked and amazed that somebody from Shangombo will tell you something that is of current.
Yes.
Why? Because they are able to streamline. They're able to go live to see what is happening. ZMBC today is showing live on Facebook,
yes,
on internet. Even most of the radio stations are live on internet. And people have known how to use internet facilities now.
Oh.
So if we can engage our young ones for the sake of development, to guide them and do things that will create positivity for this country, I don't see the reason why we should even be crying for aid outside the country. We can create wealth within this country if we, as the young people, become responsible with ourselves and be respectful with ourselves. That is the key.
Okay.
I've seen a lot of foreigners coming into this country with nothing at all. 10 years, the person becomes a billionaire, multi-billionaire. And we're asking ourselves, but how has this person managed? And yet we've lived throughout, since independence in our country, and we're watching our natural resources depleting by other people who are taking advantage. Because us, the only thing we think of as Zambians is that, let me get educated, let me pass, and the only reason that I'll pass is to go and apply for a job.
Okay.
And the kind of job that I want is to put on a tie. No. Where there's dirt, that's where there's money.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That is so interesting. You've raised quite a number of points there. But, you know, we have been raised from very different family background, where we have also been taught that the life we have to live in I'll give a specific Zambia or in the world, in this on this earth, is to live a life of hustling, where you need to know your ways, you need to know where to find money, you need to know that, okay, at this time now, I've grown up, and I need to look for my own house, my own everything. Now here is a challenge where somebody who is a leader comes in and says, I'll give you this money. You know, we've seen that employment has been an issue. You know, some of these issues maybe are coming in because of the introduction of technology. Yes. Now here is a political leader coming in and say, okay, you guys, I'll give you this 10,000 kwacha. I want you to go and do this and this, instructing the youths to go and maybe attack some other leaders outside there. Yes. What do you think is should be the positive reaction of the youths?
First and foremost, I have never heard any youth that has bought himself a Mercedes Benz.
Okay.
That has bought himself a Mercedes Benz because of being sent to go and attack somebody. I have never heard that. I've never heard of a youth that has bought a house out of beating somebody because of politics. That is a lie.
Okay.
So let us be realistic with what we are doing. Us in PF, we never advocate for any violent activity.
Okay.
Our president has been preaching about peace day in, day out, and that is why he even assented to make sure that we have a day of national mourning and prayers.
Wow.
Yes. To make sure that people at one point of the year can get back together and reflect on how the year has been. If you have wronged somebody, that should be the day for you to remember and say, no, let me go on my knees against it. And remember the evil things that I have done against my fellow human being. Besides, we are all created under the image of God.
Wow.
And we mustn't forget that. I may be a politician today, but at the end of it all, I kneel as well.
Wow.
I pray to my God, because if it wasn't for him, I don't think I'll be here today talking, even speaking whatever I'm saying. Even the little intelligent I may think I may have, I may not even speak it.
Wow.
Everything that I know I do in this world, it has to be godly.
Wow.
And that is why even us as PF, in as much as, yes, we say politics has got no boundaries, but we never forget one thing.
Okay.
We are all born and created under the image of God. And that is why even in the constitution of this land, we have been championing to say we retain and maintain Zambia being declared and called a Christian nation.
Wow.
We know for a fact that other people are not happy. They're not happy at all.
Okay.
Because they want to sneak in another form of the declaration.
Okay.
So that Zambians now may start seeing other funny things happening in this country, such as gayism and all these things. So we must be extremely careful. We must be extremely careful when we're talking about the enactment of a new law that we want to introduce, the so-called Bill 10. You ask the people, why are they screaming loud and trying to condemn this? In as much as they may try and bring in propaganda of claiming that we want to sneak in the reintroduction of deputy ministers, that is not the issue.
Okay.
That is not the issue. They are trying to raise issues that will make people rise up against a very good government that has been following the footsteps of what the Bible preaches. And this is what we are doing.
Okay.
So many people have been crying, claiming that we do not have a representation, a large number of representation of youths in government and in parliament, and even women, which is a fact and it's a reality.
Okay.
But how are you going to bring in this aspect of these people to join in when we all know that democracy is expensive?
Okay.
We know that democracy is expensive. For you to become a politician, you must have at least a sound financial background.
Wow.
Now, where are you going to find a young person who just graduates from the university to say, I'm going to join politics? Where is he going to get the resources?
Nowhere.
That's impossible. So We are trying to say, can we introduce proportion representation in parliament such that certain number of people will just be appointed?
Okay.
And others are saying, no, this is not good.
Okay.
Because of the Bill 10.
Oh.
No, those are not the issues.
Mm.
We know the main issue which others are fighting for is the introducing of gayism in Zambia so that they can go and get financed out of that.
Oh, all right.
We know what is going on. But we know the lovely people of this country, Zambia. Zambians, oh, they're very prayerful people.
Yes.
We've been crying for the rains. The rains have come.
Wow.
But unfortunately, I wish it can pour like the way it's pouring here and in Eastern Province and Northern Province. If it can pour in Southern Province, then even the issue of load shedding will be of the past.
Yes.
So we still have to get on our knees and pray to our Maker to ensure that at least let us have the kind of rainfall that we dare to have so that we can run the machines and power be generated. Not the load shedding that we are facing currently.
Okay.
It is making our economy not to perform very well. Yes.
All right. Now, from your political point of view, how well can we help the youths to unite in the nation, in this nation, Zambia?
It is very easy. It all starts with the leadership.
Okay.
It starts with us as leaders. I'm sure you've heard and you've seen it yourself from our president. Our president has embraced everybody. He has even extended an olive branch to whichever political party. He wants to work with everybody. So it all starts from there. Promote the young people of this country. Then I don't know which direction we're looking at. Because look at me. As the National Youth Chairperson, I'm following the footsteps of our president. Even all the programs that are going on, which are of course a manifestation from our manifesto, which are inculcated into the policies which our government are doing.
Okay.
We are following all those things. And we are attending to each and every youth, regardless of their social backgrounds, affiliation. We don't mind.
Okay.
What we want to see is the general populace of our youths being empowered, being facilitated, being helped, and to ensure that this country moves forward with one agenda, which should be love and peace.
Wow. So interesting. Now, we've heard a lot of rumors. I don't know if they're rumors or maybe they're, I don't know, you decide which is which. That, you are, as the government, you are empowering youths, and mostly those who benefit are those who are the youths for the patriotic flag. I want you to clear that statement out.
Listen, that notion is a very wrong one.
Okay.
It's a very wrong one. The only unfortunate part is that we've got this notion that people have had for a long time, where they think that empowerment towards young people or women will only be centered to those that are close or those that expose themselves to be closer to the party in power. That is not true.
Okay.
Us as PF, I'll even give you a practical example where we facilitated a youth group from Chongwe where they managed to access the goat projects where they've been given goats, 50 goats. And they're not even in any structure of the PF. They're not even PF members.
Okay.
But these are citizens of the country. Yes. So let us not create things that are not there. The problem that we have is that people shy away. And they'll say, no, us will wait until another government come which we are supporting. It will never come.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
There is a saying, Womba nabaripo. Simple.
Okay.
If you say no, because me I support this one, I cannot go and whatever, you live angry. The person that you are supporting him, he eats every day.
Okay.
He eats every day. We all know where there was a young girl that even wanted to go and seek for some help. How much was she given when she wanted some money? Yeah? It's a known fact. So let us not pretend.
Okay.
You may follow, but when it comes to help, government is there. The government belongs to everybody.
Okay.
The government is not a government for one political party. No.
Okay.
Because even poverty doesn't choose.
Yes.
It will not say, no, in Njalanzange na chape mliba PF. In Njalanzange na chape mliba UPND. No, it cuts across.
Okay.
Yes, just like ailment. It will not choose to say, no, mavuto manje yazange na chape mliba UPND or mliba MMD. No.
Okay.
Let us be real as young people. When we say we are running these programs, come and seek advice.
Wow.
We shall guide you and we shall help you. Okay. As long as you follow the right procedures, and what we want to see is a responsible youth grouping.
All right.
Not the trend of what has been happening of late, where young people are busy insulting their leaders and all that. That is un-African.
Okay.
I remember when we were growing up, when I was young, I could not even use a big word towards an elderly person. Because we looked at the elders next to God. That's what we knew.
Okay.
And that is what we're being taught. Respect an elderly person, respect your parents, because on earth, the elders and your parents are next to God.
Okay.
Because they're the ones who are guiding you. Yes.
Okay.
Now, these days, you find even children, they've climbed a bus together with an elderly person. A child is seated on the chair and an elderly person is standing, and the child will just be standing looking at this elder person, which never used to happen before.
Okay.
So these are the morals we need to bring back. We are so much imitating foreign values and foreign ills. Those are the ones that are messing us up as a nation, especially with our generation. Because this generation we're in, I'm sorry to say, if this was a generation that was there in 1964, Zambia would not have attained its independence.
Okay.
Why am I saying so? This generation loves money too much than anything else.
Okay.
They love to admire. There's no common understanding where we can say, can we come together and find a solution on how we can resolve our problems so that together we achieve and together we make a life better for all of us. There's nothing like that. It's all about each person for himself now, which should go away.
Okay.
Let us get back to the drawing board. All these things, they have failed. Standing on your own, it has failed.
Okay.
Let us work together. And you know, in a saying we always say in my language, to say, Inda,
Okay.
Yes. Let us work together.
All right.
And if we do that, we are going to see a successful Zambia driven by a young generation.
Okay.
Yes, we have the energy, we've got the intelligence, we've got almost everything.
Okay.
And government has put up certain systems in place which we can access. The only thing that we need to do is let us be responsible.
Okay.
That is all.
All right. So now you've talked of us being one or uniting, cooperating, putting our hands together as youths. Yes. Now, as you as leaders who are leading us, do you think you have shown us a clear way and a picture, yes, for us to follow in the same steps?
I think we have.
Okay.
If we look at the way our president has been exhibiting himself, I think he's been exemplary.
Okay.
If we look at the way the Patriotic Front government has managed the resources of this country, it's unimaginable.
Okay.
Me, I'll tell you one thing. Kasama has been transformed in just less than 3 years of my being a member of parliament. It has been transformed.
Wow.
Because the development that has come into Kasama are unprecedented.
Okay.
And we are seeing all these things throughout the country. But people tend to pretend like they're not seeing.
Okay.
We have had serious problems of congestions of the roads, traffic being jammed. Every time it rains, there will be serious traffic jams. But now it's almost becoming of the past. Because most of the roads have been widened. We are seeing flyovers to ensure that traffic is reduced. Most of the roads that have been created within the 8 years, now it's 10 years of PF.
Okay.
It is unprecedented. May I always give a practical example? The late president, may his soul rest in peace, President Chiluba, ruled for 10 years. The only road we saw being constructed in Zambia was this road where the Parliament Motel is, and it joins where there's East Park is on Greatest Road. That was the only road constructed. Now, from 2011 to date, how many roads have been constructed? From being gravel to being created into bituminous standard. How many roads? We're talking of over thousands of kilometers. Okay. And this is the Zambia we want. This is the Zambia we want to see. Now, even if people cry to say, no, we don't have money in circulation and all that, yes, it is at a cost. Okay. The government has spent to ensure that we have all these facilities. The hospitals that have been built. Go to Levy. Levy Hospital is unimaginable. It looks like you're in Europe, and yet it's just here.
Wow.
This is something that we never imagined that Zambia to ever have. Okay. The airport that is being constructed, it is going to also support the traffic of air traffic in the region, and on top of that, the tourism industry is also going to be boosted up. Look at the Livingston Airport, the way it has been done. Look at the airport which is being constructed in Ndola. Look at the airport runway that is being constructed in Kasama. All these things, they are at a cost. Okay. And us Zambians should be proud to say, these infrastructures that are being constructed can never be uprooted to be taken anywhere. No, they are adding value to the nation and to the country. And whatever infrastructure is coming up, it means that there is a job that has been created.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow.
That is one thing we should be looking at.
Okay. Wow. That's more interesting. Okay, dear listeners, you are tuned in to Christian Nation on 106.5 FM. I'm Nyambe, and I'm with my guest in the studio, who is the National Youth Chairperson from the Patriotic Front, who is Honorable Kelvin Sampa. So the number you can call in now, I'm going to allow calls, so you're going to call on the number, which is 07777 6081 0777760811. And the MTN line is the other MTN line is 0960 248915. 0960248915. The other line is 0777760811. Now, as we are getting in, more deeper in the discussion, okay, we're going to pick the first call.
All right.
All right. Hello. Hello, caller. Hello. Yes, you're through to. Fine, you're through to Christian Nation. Where are you calling us, and what's your name?
I'm calling from
Matelo. Okay. Yes, you can contribute, subtract, or add on.
Good afternoon, Mr. Philemon, and Happy New Year. Thank you.
Okay.
issue also of the issue also of package the procurement of like if I not find it, that issue is still being fought in the public domain. So we need to be there's need of clarity on such such indeed.
Okay.
There's also the issue of electricity.
All right.
$7 million US. That's a $7 million US too much.
Which?
How I wish that that $7 million US going to be channeled into solar energy. It was going to be better. During day, I should be switching to solar energy, and then at night we switch to hydro.
Okay.
There's going to be a problem like this, the problem that we're facing as a country right now.
Mr. Piri, I'm sure you might be concluding. Okay, thank you very much for coming through. Stay braced. All right, maybe you can respond to that caller before
Yes.
we.
First and foremost.
Okay, sorry. Let me just pick this another call. Hello, caller. You're through to Christian Nation. Yes, your name and where are you calling us from? Okay.
Good afternoon, Mr. Boyd Simasiku. Faint. Can you increase? Ask him to speak louder.
You can. Sorry, you can just speak loud. Just be a bit louder.
Yes. I just want to find out what the other infrastructure has the PF done in the Congo district, and why are you not yet putting the substation in the Congo district so that that secondary school which you, MMD has left since 2008, because you promised that in 2011 when you went, then that secondary school will open. So now I just want to
Okay, I'm sure you might be concluding.
Yes, in conclusion,
Yes.
when are you going to open that secondary school? Because it's now almost 9 years. Thank you very much. Welcome. We are listening.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you for coming through. Stay blessed and enjoy the day. All right, so maybe let me allow one more call before you answer. Hello, caller. How are you and where are you calling us from?
Good afternoon.
Up.
I'm calling you from Lusaka, within Lusaka.
Okay.
Okay, you can contribute.
Good afternoon, Honorable.
Good afternoon, Machileshi, and Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you.
Thank you.
Honorable, allow me to express my gratitude to you for the hard work that you are doing.
Thank you.
I've been an ardent follower of you before you even joined politics when you were running an organization.
Thank you.
And you inspire me so much.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, just a quick one. I just wanted to make 2 points. For me, what I've seen is that Zambia, for us to see a better Zambia, we've got to show that spirit of gratitude. We've got to be grateful to what God has done. You know, there are a lot of things that are happening in the country. I'm not a politician myself, but I'm a Christian, I'm a believer. I see a lot of development, and so we've got to be grateful for that. We've got peace in our nation, we've got to thank God for that. Okay. Then the other thing that will really help us move on as a nation, I believe we must have a change of mindset. Let us transform our minds from being negative to being positive. Let us see the good in the challenges that we are facing. Then
All right.
tomorrow we're going to have a better family. And
Okay.
lastly, where can we find your office so that we can put out some proposals and stuff like that?
Not a problem. My office is at the party secretariat.
Okay.
Yes. You know where it is?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much for coming through, Mr. Chilesha.
Well, I think just to respond
Okay.
to Boyd Samasiku,
Yes.
where you say, what are the other infrastructure the government has done in Sikongo district, and why has the school not opened up to now? Well, on that one, I haven't been to Sikongo. I would not respond. But also, I would give a challenge to the member of parliament in that area.
Okay.
Because he's the one that should make sure that he makes follow-ups. Just like me, what I do in Kasama.
Okay.
Yeah, government is there, but if you're just going to sit idle and without pursuing these matters, don't expect things to happen like that.
Okay.
That is why we're all here in Lusaka. Parliament is here in Lusaka. Ministry of Finance is here in Lusaka. All ministries are here in Lusaka. And as a member of parliament, it's up to you. You're mandated to ensure you pursue these issues and follow them up until you reach a logical conclusion. So I will not say much about this because it's not in my jurisdiction for me to know.
All right.
But at least if I have an opportunity to be in Sikongo, I will definitely be looking for this infrastructure and find out what is going on.
Can I just accommodate one caller?
Sure, no problem.
All right. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Hello, how are you and where are you calling us from? And also your name.
I'm calling you from Chongwe. My name is Joseph.
Okay.
Yeah, I would just like to comment what the government is doing under the able leadership of Dr. Edgar Kabaruni. I would also want to thank Honorable Kelvin Sampa. He had paid for us our school fees. We were saved from school, we continue. And he paid for us. Thank you very much.
Wow. All right. That's so amazing. Okay. Thank you for coming through.
Yes.
All right. Maybe you can respond before we pick another caller.
Yes. The gentleman spoke about, we seem to be having a challenge with our roads after being constructed. Now they're being damaged. You see, the greatest challenge we have as a nation is also to monitor these trucks, the trucks that are lifting up heavy goods, because some of them, they are lifting up goods that are above the standards that are stipulated according to the laws of the country. Everybody knows that these 30-ton trucks, they're supposed to load about 25 tons of things, but you see them overloading. And hence, that is where we're having problems with our roads. Look at most of these roadblocks. You'll find that the roadblock where police mount roadblocks, the road has got all these funny waves. It is because of the overloading of these trucks. And that is why even government came up with an SI of saying 30% of goods must start moving by rail, so as to save our roads. This is where we need to also be monitoring as a nation. We need to be patriotic so that we monitor some of these, and most of the ones that are overloading are these trucks that are moving within towns, not these ones that are moving on long distances from one country to the other, because the standards are there and they pass through way bridges. The ones that are within operations within towns are the ones that are affecting our roads. So we Zambians must be patriotic. These roads are our roads. They are our roads. You find that certain accidents that are happening shouldn't even happen. But because of these trucks messing up our roads, most of the accidents are on our roads, and especially now during rainy season. Yes. The issue of electricity, in as much as, yes, the government has to import in power.
Or maybe before let me just pick another caller.
Please do.
Okay. Hello, caller.
Hello.
How are you and where are you calling us from?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm okay. Your name?
I'm Joseph Piri. I'm calling here in Water.
Okay. Mulibwanji wa Joseph.
Hello?
Yes.
Mulibwanji wa Joseph Vambuya.
Yes.
Yes, you can go ahead and contribute.
The issue is interested, but now I would like just to find out when are they going to pay money those who were in the office illegal during the time of campaign for previous elections. That is the only issue. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for coming through.
Oh, well. This is the freedom we want.
Okay.
Yes. I was actually just getting back onto the electricity issue.
Yes.
Yes. Do you know, last year we were drastically affected as a nation because of the rain pattern, and which has continued even this year. We are not seeing a significant pouring of rain in the southern part of Zambia, and where most of these hydropower stations have been placed.
Okay.
So we definitely have a challenge, and following the businesses that we've been having in the country through our investors, like the mines are the ones that are consuming most of this power, they needed to be facilitated. Yes, people may say the government has spent so much money, but at the same time, we need to pay our workers, we need to collect revenue. And if government does not import in this power, it means there will be no revenue at all. The government will not run. We have to show some form of leadership. And I think as Zambians ought to be sensitized and also educated. They must understand what are the intricacies if we don't have power.
Okay.
Yes. In as much as right now we're experiencing this great rainfall that has been pouring from the northern part of Zambia, eastern part, and part of the central part, and Luapula, Copper Belt, northwestern. The problem that we have is that people could not invest in the hydropower stations in the areas where we are now experiencing so much rainfall. Okay. The reason being simple. Our tariffs were low.
Okay.
Let us be real and be honest and tell our people.
All right. I think we have a caller. Hello, caller. You're through to Christian Nation FM. Yes, where are you calling us? Yes, afternoon, how are you? And where are you calling us from?
This is Alan Zulu calling you from within Lusaka.
Okay. Well, Alan Zulu, you can just do a quick contribution, I'm sure 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. Good afternoon, Honor.
Good afternoon, Mbuya.
Okay. I've got a question for you, Honor. After your appointment as the youth coordinator?
Yes.
Yes. I've been following you closely. You've been going around distributing the barber shops, equipment, goods, and whatnot. My question is, how have you come up with this to distribute these things or to empower the youth in this way? Because what I foresaw from you, knowing your background, I would have loved that you have like a youth symposium countrywide
Okay.
or provincial.
I'm sure you might be concluding.
Yes, I will be concluding just now.
Okay.
For you to actually gather up exactly what the youth need in this nation. So let me hear how you manage to cover all these things that you're giving out without really asking all the youth nicely what exactly it is for empowerment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Alan. Okay. So I'm sure we're going to allow 2 more calls before we stop taking calls. You're tuned into Christian Nation FM on 106.5 FM and Nyambe. We are discussing the youth participation in national development. So any question that you should ask when you call should be connected to the topic. Don't ask any other question apart from what we are discussing. You can add on, contribute, or maybe ask any question that you want to ask. Now, I'm sure you can respond to the previous callers.
Yes. On the issue of electricity, I think it's important as a nation, and even us as PF, the way we've been very transparent and open. And I think there's need for serious sensitization, aggressive advocacy, so that we truly explain to our citizenry out there for them to understand.
Okay.
In the region, us as Zambia, especially ZESCO, has been selling electricity at 6 cents per kilowatt.
Okay.
And yet, our neighboring countries, they are selling their electricity at 10 cents per kilowatt.
Okay.
So even when we are importing power at that time, we're importing power at 11 cents per kilowatt, and then selling it at 6 cents. So who's cushioning the difference? Definitely it was government. Was this feasible? The answer certainly is no. Because there is no way government will spend so much money when that money must be diverted to either go to education or to go to health or to go to any other infrastructure. So even with the upward adjustment of the tariff to where we have reached now is only 8 cents. We have not even gotten to the 10 cents which the region has been getting themselves involved in. But at least with this upward adjustment, it has given hope now to the nation so that we can have investors to come in and pump in and invest into the infrastructure of hydropower station and any other power generation, whether thermal, wind, or even other solar. I know our gentleman said, no, why didn't government invest into solar? Well, to be honest with you, is that solar has got its own advantage and disadvantage. When we don't have light, like right now it's raining, it will be a great challenge. We'll still have less power and maybe no power at all. So what the government did is feasible. That is the only way we needed to cushion up and ensure that the economy of this country does not collapse. Yes. So let us be real, and people must also delve deeper to find out exactly what is happening. Why is government doing this? And why are we doing all these things? So truthfully speaking, this is where we are as a nation, and we've done quite well. The only challenge that we have right now is over the rainfall pattern. We may say, yes, in Eastern Province, we saw all those floods that came. But one thing that the people mustn't forget is that the rains that are in Eastern Province, they have already passed the Kariba. So they'll get into the Luangwa and all the other side of the Zambezi, and off the water goes to the Indian Ocean. This is where we are. But if we had adequate rainfall from northwestern and part of southern province, we fill up the Kariba. By today we'll be talking of something else. But as of last week, again, water depleted by 7%. So the problem that we have is still there. Let us not pretend to say it's not there when we're seeing this rainfall that has been pouring. It is there. The only advantage we've had is that the Kafue River, at least it has improved with its water level. And we hope that when the Kafue Gorge Lower kicks off, which will be the end of, probably end of February, the 150 megawatts, at least we'll see another reduction of the load shedding in the country. Yes, Mr. Aaron Zulu mentioned about he saw us distributing few items like shaving machines and all that. Why haven't we called all youths to come together and they should tell us what we are supposed to be giving them or helping them? First, and for your own information, Mr. Zulu, is that those things that you saw us distributing are already things that those youths told us what they wanted. So we are not just doing things like abracadabra, it's magic. No. We engage the young people. And some of these programs started even way back before I was even appointed as National Youth Chairperson. Because I was already in the National Youth Committee. That is where people forget. Not because I was in the background, people didn't know that I was part and parcel. I was still in the National Youth League team. And some of these programs, we started them before I was even appointed. So when they are seeing things happening, it's not that we're just haphazardly doing things. No. These are things that the young people have said, this is what we want. Just like the team in Munali. We gave them a bit of money. I think that was about 75,000 for putting up a car wash. And we bought them some equipment, even barbershop equipment, which they need to set up at their car wash. So for those that don't know, and we'll be informing you so that you understand, we are not doing these things haphazardly. And very soon we're rolling out a program of action for 2020. And part of it is having a national youth endeavor, where we're going to call all youths, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their status, disabled, able, we want them to come and share with us how we can help them. Because us, the only thing we can do is facilitate. It's them to give us the issues of what they want us and how they want us to help them.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting. So now, we've discussed a lot of issues. Now, I'm sure as we are going toward the end of the program, how well are you in sensitizing the youths in order to create peace before the elections?
Oh, as a National Youth League, we've come up with deliberate programs where we've been visiting local communities, universities, colleges, of different divergence of young people, so that at least we may guide them and give them the hope that something will be done. There is no way we are just going to sit idle and watch our young people being misguided. Media plays a pivotal role.
Yes.
Even right now, as I'm speaking, others are also picking up. There are things that they didn't know, but now they are even knowing to say, oh, okay, so even there, this is what happens. You know what I mean? So even the media platforms, these have also helped us to send that message so that we can inculcate positivity into our young people. We are not sleeping. Very soon you'll be seeing us in all different parts of the provinces. This weekend, we are on the Copper Belt. We're meeting young people from different colleges and universities so that we give them that hope and the guidance. And we also give them an informative position of what government is trying to do for our young people. And also to tell them to be very responsible young people. Let us be responsible enough. That is where it starts from. Somebody had even said we need a mindset change. And how does that begin? It starts with self-discipline. If you cannot be disciplined as an individual, don't expect any positive results to come from whatever you're going to try and do in this world.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So as you are concluding, but before you conclude, I want you just maybe to, starting from last year to this year, how well have you empowered the youths, and what are some of the measures that you are putting in place to empower the youths in the country?
Well, I think there's also been a misconception, which I need to be clearing out to most of the people and the listeners out there. I don't know why they think as if it's us as the National Youth League that should be the ones to be empowering. Yes, indirectly, we are the facilitators. Government has put up programs out of the policies that us as PF has put up. Government is following our policy, rather our manifesto as PF, to ensure that we empower the young people out there. And this is something that we need to inform our people. Government has got a lot of programs. Ministry of Youth has got. Ministry of Fisheries and Livestock has. Ministry of Agriculture, Ministry of Gender. So all these, they have their own segments of where they can empower our young people. It's up to the young people to come to us and say, look, us what we want to do is this, but where can we go to tap into what we want to do? We'll be able to guide them. Because all these are government's programs. Yes. Us, the only thing we'll do is advocate and sensitize, like the way I'm explaining. Yes, we must sensitize our people, because there is so much that is happening, like in the Ministry of Livestock and Fisheries, just like the fish farming, you've got keeping of animals such as goats, cows, pigs, chickens, and so many different types. Yes. So all it takes is our young people to get together, create cooperatives, and create even clubs. Where they cannot have access of creating cooperatives, they can create clubs. Those are admissible for them to have access to what they would want. So me, what I'm urging our young people is, let's get united. Let's get united so that we can move with one direction to ensure that we empower ourselves and let us not get cheated. The only institution that is going to help our young people to move in the direction where they would want to move to is through the government of His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu. That is all.
Okay.
These other people who come and sing their songs, but they'll never deliver like what our president and his government, our government, is doing. And I'm telling you, come 2021, there is no change of any government. The wind hasn't reached that level. We are doing what it takes to make sure that our people can have access. Yes, the economy may be biting because of certain things that even us as government cannot control over, because certain things is a world problem that has come into play. America's fight with China has created a problem. And I also pray that the war that has started between America and Iran won't escalate, because then it will have an adverse effect on the fuel pricing again. And this is where our government has been now trying to look at possible ways of how we can start now changing the importation and the purchase of fuel in the country, so that we get the lowest person that will supply us is the one that we're going to go with. Not like what has been happening in the past. We know these things that are affecting our people. We know them. And we're not pretending to say, no, me, I'm okay, because me, I can afford, hence I cannot look at what my other colleague is feeling. No, we are concerned. The president is concerned. And we want to ensure that each and every household can afford at least 3 meals in a day. That is what we want.
Okay.
And we're working hard day and night to see that we find solutions to ensure our people can be and feel glorified to say, yes, we belong to a great nation, we belong to a government that considers and think about us.
Okay. All right. So now in conclusion, under 2 minutes, I want you to just conclude. What is your advice to the youths who are tuned in, listening to this program?
What I can safely say to our young people out there is that my office is open. I've created an open door policy. I don't look at anybody's face to say this is the only person that I can work with. No. It doesn't matter whether you smile at me, you don't smile at me. All I want is to give you the service that you want.
Wow.
I'm there in that office to provide service. That is all.
Wow.
And please come through. Don't feel intimidated. Don't feel rejected. We are there for you. Just like the way our president has been preaching. The PF, my Secretary General, our Secretary General, the way has been talking. That is the way we want to move the agenda of this country. So all of you young people, feel free. That is your office. It's not my office. I've been given this position to attend to all of you young people, not to attend to myself.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. That was our interview for today. And in the studio, I'm with the National Youth Chairperson, who is Honorable Kelvin Sampa from the Patriotic Front. I'm sure you've heard it for yourself. You